Galala Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the elders of Jemes Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel Barakatah. Today's lesson, Chariot laser fire. And when it comes to the government, it has admitted the existence of so-called UFOs. But we are here to tell you that the answers you seek upon this topic at hand is found upon the scriptures. And when it comes to those chariots of Yahweh and Yahushai, the scriptures speak of the heavenly armada to come and of their capabilities. And upon the arrival of the Lord, along with this armada of chariots, one realm shall fight against another. And here we have 2 Esdras 13 and 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. This speaks of an all-out war on all levels. The time cometh when the people shall also engage in racial wars. So all hell shall break loose on all levels, and the realm of men shall also fight against the Lord's realm of spiritual forces. One realm or kingdom shall fight against another. The armies of this worldly realm shall engage the angelic hosts of the spiritual realm, bringing about the true war of the worlds. And those chariots of the Lord shall engage by shooting laser beams of their own, just like you saw upon the short videos. When it comes to those real images and real videos recorded by cellular phones, they are worth 1,000 words. And the reason why they are now creating AI videos is also to throw off the truth. But as soon as that CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16 is fully implemented around the world, all hell will break loose. And upon the Lord's second return, the slain of the Lord shall be many, according to the scripture of Isaiah 66, 15 and 16. First cometh the CHIP of Revelation 13, 16 through 18. Then World War III follows quickly. And during the course of World War III, the Lord returns for the elect chosen of true Israel out of the house of David. The elect shall scarcely be saved, according to the scripture of 1 Peter 4 and 18. Once the elect are beamed up into the chariots of the Lord, those swords of mass destruction that shall be bathed in heaven shall rain down upon modern-day Babylon the Great. Those destructive arrows that shall be launched on that day shall not break their ranks, and none shall miss, because the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, shall guide them to destroy from coast to coast. They shall destroy Babylon the Great from coast to coast. Revelation 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. And that is speaking about Yahushai HaMashiach, the heavenly Son at the right hand of the Father. And this is John the Revelator in the island of Patmos, a salt mine penal colony, that witnessed the vision of the white horse, which speaks of the enormous chariot, aka UFO, of the Lord, Yahweh wa Yahushai. The chariots are known as the identified flying objects of the Lord, Yahweh wa Yahushai, or as Israel's flying objects, because that's who the Lord is coming for, the elect chosen of true Israel. Those first fruits and that third election out of the house of David. The Lord is not returning for all the nations as these Christians will have you believe. He is returning for the elect chosen according to the scripture of Matthew 24 and 31. The Lord is not coming for all the nations of the earth, because then who is he coming to judge? Plus remember, that all these nations had the true children of Israel in captivity. So by the perfect balance of Revelation 13:9 and 10, all these nations shall go into captivity. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. With that being said, let's jump over to Revelation 19 and 14. The continuation to the white horse. Revelation 19 and 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. Those armies that followed the Lord, Yahweh, Yahushai, was what that people ignorantly call UFOs. And at the helm of those chariots of the Lord are the angels, aka the powers, aka the Halahayim. The angels are paranormal beings, which means outside of the normal. These white horses of this scripture represent the heavenly armada of chariots that followed that enormous mountain-sized chariot of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Right, those so-called UFOs or ovnis, as they say in Spanish, follow the fathership. Not the mothership, but the fathership. And when it comes to these chariots of the Lord, Yahweh wa Yahushai, they shall be the curse that shall go over the earth, according to the scripture of Zechariah 5 and 3. And those flying rolls shall be a curse unto those armies of Edom upon their arrival. They shall be a curse unto those Edomite dragon armies of the earth. Here we have that scripture of 2 Esdras 13 and 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Subdue, which is a verb, comes from the late 14th century, meaning to conquer and to reduce to subjection. It also means to overcome. And yet durst fight, meaning that they will not dare to fight or be bold enough with courage to let loose that first shot. In other words, the armies of the earth will be sore afraid to fight against the Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. But that's when the Lord shall proceed to put that fighting spirit upon their minds to fight him with their weapons of war. Second Esdras 13 and 9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. The definition of multitude meaning a large number of people or things. In other words, a great number of people, which speaks of those armies of World War III joined together as one in order to subdue the Lord. That multitude of armies came against the Lord with their high-tech weaponry in order to subdue him in battle. That's the violence of the multitude. But according to the scripture of Revelation 12 and 8, they prevail not in their efforts to subdue the Lord. They failed drastically in that attempt to subdue the Lord. That Edomite dragon that claimed that they were the best fighting force the world has ever seen prevailed not. When it comes to those primitive weapons of the earth, they were no match for that great angelic armada of the Lord. In the Lord's retaliation, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But the Lord could very well give the order unto his angels, unto those powers, unto the Alahayim, to open fire. That's why 2 Esdras 13 and 10 goes on to say, 2 Esdras 13 and 10, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And this is a metaphor that speaks of that mountainous chariot of the Lord opening up a section and firing a laser beam blast that emitted deadly sparks of fire upon the Lord's enemies. Upon those armies of the earth, a laser beam blast that emitted deadly sparks of fire fell upon the multitude that came up against them in war. The same thing that you saw upon those short videos shall come upon the armies of the earth, but with greater intensity. That's why you have to imagine what you read, because that blast, according to 2 Esdras 13 and 11, that was intense. It got them all. 2 Esdras 13 and 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. In other words, a blast of tremendous size fell upon the multitude that was mixed together. That's why upon reading the scriptures, one must imagine what he or she is reading. So you see, this is the other aspect of those spaceships. They are also for battle, not only for salvation, but also for battle. One vehicle to do it all. An innumerable multitude speaks of all the militaries of World War III coming up against the Lord Yahushua in unity in order to subdue him. But not only was Esdras afraid upon seeing this, but Habakkuk was also afraid, according to the scripture of Habakkuk 3, 1 and 2. Right, because they witnessed the true power of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, of Yahweh and Yahushai. According to the scripture, the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach achieved victory over the armies of the earth in vengeance, and they were also removed from the power seat of rulership. Right, because the Lord's going to establish his righteous kingdom upon this earth, and to that righteous kingdom there shall be no end. And with that being said, Kalalau Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Qudash, and double honors to the elders of Jemes Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah, Shalom.